toxic masculinity.
Hunter Biden, Republicans demand investigation.
That is right. So, I love this. Now, here's the rotten thing. They're demanding an investigation specifically about the gun that he had. He had filled out his application for a gun, and he had lied on it and said he was not doing any drugs, which we know he was.
Don't they require like a blood test for drugs?
You just have to say, yeah. So he lied, and we know he lied, right? That's clear. So we know he's committed a felony, right? We know he's committed a felony. But the federal government has refused to go and investigate this or arrest him or in any way because he's the president's son. Would they have?
His father already a president. Why they refuse to investigate?
You think they would have been so generous with Trump's kids? Not a chance. Here's why I find this a little bit annoying, because Hunter is guilty of so much worse. And yet we're going to get him on this stupid gun application. Well,
he can say he made a mistake.
I say we go after him on whatever little thing we can find, because I think of it as like Al Capone, right? They couldn't get Al Capone on the murders. They couldn't get Al Capone on the racketeering or any of the criminal stuff that he was doing. But they could get Al Capone on tax evasion. So he ended up dying in prison for tax evasion, which is like you would have wished that Al Capone would have gone to prison for something much more, relevant to his level of criminality. In the same way, you want Hunter to go to prison for something much more serious, because he is guilty of much more serious crimes. His best buddy did go to prison. I actually haven't kept up on that story, so I need to check that out. But he was prosecuted for crimes with the same company that Hunter's in, but Hunter was ignored. Hunter was ignored because of his father. So rules for thee, but not for me. That's the Biden way. But let's go ahead and have a look at this story. Excuse me. Republicans call on Biden's ATF director nominee to investigate Hunter Biden for potential felony. Is this going to happen? Of course not, but let's keep reading. I like that they're pushing it, though. I love that they're pushing it. A group of House Republicans sent a letter Monday calling on President Joe Biden's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the nominee David Chipman, to investigate Hunter Biden if confirmed. Well, of course he'll be confirmed, for reportedly falsifying information during a background check in order to illegally obtain a gun. The letter to Chipman, first obtained by the Daily Caller, was written by Republican Virginia Representative Bob Good, a man who I've never heard of before, and signed by over 20 House Republicans. In the letter, Good asks Chipman to publicly commit to investigating Hunter Biden, referencing a Politico report that Biden answered no to the question about drug use on firearms transaction record for a gun in October 2018. Just years prior, he had been discharged from the Navy Reserve after testing positive for cocaine. Biden also allegedly sent a text message on January 29th, 2019, saying his former sister-in-law turned girlfriend, Hallie Biden. Isn't that freaking weird? I always think that's so weird that he started dating his dead brother's wife. Ugh. I mean, could you imagine if Trump's kids did, like, the stuff that this guy's gotten away with and the media hasn't pushed him on? I talk about this in a recent in a video I'm going to put out pretty soon on Mr. Reagan. He just the double standard is incredible. Like, if this had been Donald Trump Jr. that had been guilty of all the stuff that Hunter's guilty of, it would be front page news every single day, all day, for months. Yeah. Let's see here. His girlfriend, who was his brother's wife, Hallie Biden. Is it Hallie or Haley? I don't know. She stole a gun from the trunk of his car, and then the police and Secret Service. Wait, what? Okay. Anyway, you guys heard about that story. She stole a gun, threw it into a garbage thing. The police and Secret Service went looking for it. She threw it away due to concerns that Hunter might use it to kill himself. Anyway, so this guy, Bob Good wrote, I write to ask you publicly to commit to investigate allegations that Hunter Biden falsified information during a background check in order to illegally obtain a firearm should you be confirmed by the U.S. Senate as the director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the letter states. I think the reason that he's written this letter is so that when the guy is going up for confirmation to, he's got to talk to congressman to get confirmed, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to ask him about it and say, well, you've got this letter. You've had time to think about it. What's your answer? My guess is that he'll try to weasel out of it in some way, but Republicans can now push and say, well, you got the letter. You know that he's guilty of this. Why would you not arrest him? In the letter, Good says that everybody should be held to the same standard regardless of their connections or last name. Such a good point. What is funny?
This super chat.
Stop.
It's related to this article.
Okay.
It's from
I will pause.
And it's $20.
It's $20.
Okay.
We don't. Okay, fine. Thank you, whoever wrote it. Who wrote the super chat?
It's Tom Christopoulos.
Oh yeah. I actually know him.
Yeah?
You've met him. Yeah, in DC. I think that's right. I think that's right.
I was in DC in 2019.
We had dinner with somebody, remember?
Well, you were last time in DC without me. So.
No, this is the first time.
So his super chat is Hunter wanted variety. I told you it's hilarious.
Okay, that was worth stopping for. Okay, let's see here. The letter, Good says that everybody should be held to the same standard. I love that. I love that point. Because that's a point that you cannot argue, either on the right or the left. The idea that your kid, because you're the president, gets special treatment. And this was never true about Trump. Trump's kids, in fact, got really bad treatment for being Trump's kids. But Hunter has been basically getting treated like a prince this whole time.
I understand why you sound like you're surprised.
What do you mean surprised?
Like the difference between how they treat.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm saying I'm impressed at this guy's letter. I think this is a really good strategy. It's sort of like chess, right? You're basically putting them in a corner where they have to either say, yes, we're going to go after Hunter Biden, or no, we're not going to go after Hunter Biden, and we agree that nepotism and the double standards are fine, right? It's like when you got your knight doing that L shape, and it's either going to take your queen or it's going to take, your rook or something, right? It's going to take something, and you got to move something out of the way, but something's going to go, right?
Okay.
So they're basically trapped. Many Americans are rightfully alarmed by these reports, considering Mr. Biden's history of drug use. God, I don't know why I can't read today. I can never read. I got a problem with reading. I'm not a good reader. This is why I don't do teleprompter stuff. In the past, the Biden family has been open about Mr. Biden's struggle with substance abuse, and Navy records indicate his discharge from service following a positive drug test. Since lying on a background check form is a felony, this allegation merits investigation. Sadly, lying on background checks is common, often called lying and trying, but rarely prosecuted. The Government Accountability Office reported in 2017 that of the 112,000 lie and try crimes that year, only 12 were prosecuted, the letter continues. But see, I think that this is a critical thing to do, to prosecute him for this, and to investigate and to prosecute him for it. Specifically because he's such a high profile figure, and he's somebody that,
what
the government should say this is a law that needs to be enforced.
Even if they would prosecute him for this felony, can he just say, oh, I was too high while filling this application?
I don't think that's an adequate.
And I'm mistaking yes and no, so I'm not
lots
responsible.
Lots of murderers often say, oh, when I shot that person in the head, I thought I was using a squirt gun because I was too high. I don't think they're going to get away with it.
But you can try.
I'm sure he will. Let's see here. Good told the Daily Caller that Chipman needs to step forward and acknowledge the report in order for Americans to understand the consequences of breaking the law. President Biden has signaled that his administration is willing to strip Americans of their right to defend themselves through a series of unilateral gun control measures. Meanwhile, his own son publicly confesses to consistent illegal drug use and unlawful behavior prior to purchasing a firearm. Hunter Biden's comments expose an unacceptable double standard that must be addressed. Knowingly making an untrue statement on a background check form is a felony punishable by 10 years in prison, Good told the Daily Caller before sending the letter. I'm sending the letter demanding that Biden's ATF director nominee, blah, 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 blah. We got it. But anyway, point is, I love this story. I love this story, and I love that Republicans are finally acting tough against the degenerate Democrats. Are you laughing at me, or are you laughing at another super chat?
It's you.
Oh, okay, good. I can't tell.
Darling, if you cannot read sometimes, it's okay because you are perfect in every other way.
Oh, gentlemen, get a wife that lies to you. It's so nice. All right, sweetie.
Next article.
Yes, please.
Warning. Public safety crisis coming as officers leave the force.
Okay, well, this is a relatively short story, but the point is just that...
Are they leaving force or they leaving guarding black neighborhoods?
No, they're leaving the police force.
Well, that's horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. So this is on Fox News. I'm just going to go ahead and play the clip from Fox News. I normally don't just play clips from other media outlets, but in this case, I think it's appropriate because the guy being interviewed is pretty sharp here. Let's see.
Big cities, small towns, villages, we interact with officers who are either injured physically or emotionally and psychologically. Now, that's the area I want to talk about right now is the psychological and the emotional injuries that are taking place, because they are part and parcel of why cops are leaving at record levels. And it isn't just NYPD. It is quite literally every major city in the country. And I've been, during our discussions previously, Harris, I forecasted a criminal justice crisis, and it is barreling towards us. A public safety crisis is coming towards us like a freight train, and we are seeing this is just the beginning. And I don't want to sound like about the sky is falling, but the sky is falling.
All right, so here's why I wanted to talk about this. Toxic Masculinity, weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.